Do-hyun Park never imagined he would represent all of humanity. Yet here he stood, in a massive hall made of crystal and light, facing beings who looked down at humans as if they were children playing with toys. The luminary, with their bodies of shifting crystal and light, filled the curved seats of the Imperial Council chamber. Their quiet whispers sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Do-hyun straightened his dark blue diplomatic uniform and waited. After 30 years as Earth's top diplomat, he knew when to speak and when to stay quiet. Right now, silence was his best choice. The Empire had called this meeting, not Earth. Let them make the first move. High Counselor Naira Kim floated down from her elevated platform. Her crystalline body glowed with a soft blue light, but her face still held traces of her human past. Centuries ago, she had been human, before choosing to evolve through the Empire's genetic technology. Now she ruled over the very species she had once belonged to. "Ambassador Park," she said, her voice clear but emotionless. "We have studied your civilization for the past 3 months. Would you like to know what we found?" "We would be honored, High Counselor," Do-hyun replied, keeping his voice steady. Inside, his heart beat faster. Everything humanity had worked for came down to this moment. Naira Kim waved her crystalline hand. A huge hologram appeared in the center of the chamber, showing Earth and its solar system. "Your species has barely reached your own moon. Your fastest ships would take years to reach even your nearest planetary neighbors. You still burn fossil fuels. You fight wars over limited resources." She paused, looking directly at Do-hyun. "Tell me, Ambassador, why should the Galactic Empire consider Earth ready for membership?" Do-hyun heard the quiet laughter from the other council members. He saw the amusement in their glowing eyes. But he also noticed something else: pride. Their pride made them blind. "High Counselor," he began, "humanity may be young compared to the Empire. Our technology may seem simple to you. But we have something that cannot be measured by the age of our civilization or the speed of our ships." "And what might that be?" Naira Kim asked, her tone making it clear she expected another human attempt at emotional manipulation. "Potential," Do-hyun said simply. "In just 100 years, we went from our first powered flight to landing on our moon. In 50 more years, we established bases on Mars. Our progress may seem slow to you, but our rate of advancement is extraordinary." The laughter grew louder. One of the council members, his body gleaming like ruby crystal, spoke up. "High Counselor, surely we needn't waste more time on this. Earth is clearly centuries away from being ready for Imperial membership." Naira Kim raised her hand for silence. "Ambassador Park, let me be direct. Your species interests us, but not as equals. We offer Earth protectorate status. We will guide your development, protect you from less friendly species, and eventually, perhaps in a few centuries, consider you for full membership." Do-hyun felt a slight vibration from the small device hidden in his collar. Commander Ji-woo Lee was signaling him from Earth. Everything was going according to plan. The Empire was underestimating humanity, just as they had hoped. What would protectorate status mean for Earth? Do-hyun asked, already knowing the answer but needing it stated officially. Naira Kim smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Earth would benefit from Imperial protection. We would establish a small presence on your planet to oversee your development. Your governments would maintain internal autonomy, but all major technological advances would need Imperial approval. This is for your own safety, of course. "Of course," Do-hyun said politely. "And if Earth declines this generous offer?" The temperature in the chamber seemed to drop. Naira Kim's glow dimmed slightly. "Then Earth would be classified as a pre-contact civilization. You would be isolated from all galactic trade and cultural exchange. No Imperial technology or knowledge would be shared with Earth. You would be alone." Do-hyun nodded slowly. "I see. And how long do we have to consider this offer?" "The Empire is generous," Naira Kim said. "You have 1 Earth month to decide. I suggest you use this time wisely, Ambassador. Back on Earth, in a hidden command center deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Commander Ji-Woo Lee watched the transmission with intense focus. Around her, dozens of operators monitored communications, defense systems, and the strange energy signatures the Empire's ships gave off. "They're exactly as arrogant as we hoped," Ji-Woo said to the man standing beside her. "Did you get everything you needed, Dr. Kang?" Min-Ho Kang nodded, his eyes fixed on the complex data streaming across his screens. The young scientist had been studying the Empire's technology since their ships first appeared in Earth's orbit. "Their crystalline technology is amazing, Commander, but they've become so dependent on it that they've stopped looking for alternatives. They've made themselves blind." "Blind enough for our plan to work?" Ji-Woo asked. Min-Ho smiled. "Their entire civilization is built on crystalline quantum computing. They abandoned traditional electronic systems centuries ago. They'd never developed biomural interfaces because their crystalline bodies made it unnecessary." He turned to face Ji-Woo. "They won't be looking for what we're about to do because they don't believe it's possible." Ji-Woo watched as Du Hyun's diplomatic shuttle left the Imperial flagship. Everything depended on the Empire believing they had won, that Earth would accept their generous offer. They needed time, and Du Hyun's careful diplomatic dance would buy them that time. "How long until the prototype is ready?" she asked. "The basic system is already working," Min-Ho replied. "HFY made a breakthrough last week. Would you like to see?" Ji-Woo followed Min-Ho to a sealed laboratory deep within the facility. Through a reinforced window, they could see a young woman sitting in what looked like a modified pilot's chair. HFY Choi had her eyes closed, wearing what appeared to be a simple headset. "Watch the displays," Min-Ho said quietly. Ji-Woo's eyes widened as she saw what was happening. On dozens of screens around HFY, complex calculations and simulations ran simultaneously. But HFY wasn't touching any controls. She wasn't speaking any commands. She was controlling everything with her thoughts alone. "How is this possible?" Ji-Woo asked, even though she had read all the technical reports. "We discovered that human consciousness operates on quantum principles we never understood before," Min-Ho explained. "The Empire's technology is built on artificial quantum systems, but the human brain, it's a natural quantum computer. We just had to learn how to connect it properly." In the test chamber, HFY opened her eyes and smiled. The screens went dark. "Did you see that, Commander?" She called through the intercom. "I can process data faster than their best crystalline computers. And this is just the beginning." Ji-Woo nodded. "How soon can we start installing the systems in our defense platforms?" "We've already begun," Min-Ho said. "Captain Sun Mi-Yang is training the first group of mural pilots right now. By the time the Empire realizes what we've done, it will be too late for them to stop us." That evening, Du Hyun Park sat in his office in New Geneva, staring at the Imperial ships visible in the night sky. They looked like new stars, their crystalline hulls catching and reflecting sunlight. Beautiful but dangerous. His secure communication system chimed. "Ambassador," Ji-Woo's voice came through clearly. "How did you assess their reactions?" "They see exactly what they want to see," Du Hyun replied. "A primitive species trying to punch above its weight. Neri Kim is the perfect High Counselor for our purposes. She's so convinced of her own superiority that she can't imagine her former species surprising her." "Did you notice anything about their security systems?" Ji-Woo asked. Du Hyun smiled. "Yes. Their entire ship runs on crystalline technology. I saw no signs of traditional electronic systems, just as our probes suggested. They're vulnerable." "Good," Ji-Woo said, "because we're ahead of schedule. HFY's breakthrough changed everything. We won't need a month to prepare. The Empire gave us a month because they think we'll use it to realize how hopeless our situation is," Du Hyun said. "They expect us to accept their offer quietly and gratefully." "Their mistake," Ji-Woo replied. "Get some rest, Ambassador. The real work begins tomorrow. As Do-hyun prepared for bed, he thought about Naeri Kim's face when she spoke about humanity's limitations. There had been something there, beneath the contempt. Fear, perhaps. Some part of her remembered being human. Some part of her knew what humans could do when pushed into a corner. The Empire thought they were being generous, giving Earth time to accept its inferior position in the galaxy. They didn't realize they had given humanity exactly what it needed, time to spring the trap. Soon, the Empire would learn what humanity had known for countless generations. Underestimate humans at your own risk. The laughter would stop soon enough. And when it did, the galaxy would never be the same. The underground facility buzzed with activity as Dr. Minho Kang walked through its brightly lit corridors. 3 weeks had passed since the Empire's ultimatum, and humanity hadn't wasted a single minute. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, hidden from the Empire's watchful eyes, Earth's greatest minds worked tirelessly on Project Nexus. Minho stopped at a large observation window. Inside the testing chamber, Ha-won Choi sat in her neural interface chair, her eyes closed in deep concentration. Around her, holographic displays showed the status of 20 different spacecraft in orbit. She controlled them all at once, using only her mind. Her neural load is stable, one of the technicians reported. She's been maintaining control for 3 hours now. Minho nodded, making notes on his tablet. And the Empire's sensors. They haven't noticed anything unusual. The quantum interference pattern masks our tests perfectly. They think we're just running routine satellite maintenance. The door behind them opened, and Commander Ji-woo Lee walked in. She looked tired but determined. Dr. Kang, we need to talk about the timeline. The Empire is getting impatient. They walked together to Minho's office, a simple room filled with screens and technical diagrams. On one wall hung a picture of Earth taken from the moon, a reminder of what they were fighting for. Ambassador Park says the Empire is planning to send an inspection team earlier than planned. Ji-woo explained. They'll be here in 5 days. Minho sat down heavily in his chair. 5 days. That's not enough time, To. It has to be. Ji-woo cut in. The Empire thinks we're about to accept their offer. They want to start setting up their guidance facilities on Earth. We need to be ready. Minho brought up the latest test results on his main screen. Ha-won's progress is amazing. She can control more ships than any of our other pilots, but we still don't know if the system will work against the Empire's crystalline technology. Then let's find out, a voice said from the doorway. They turned to see Ha-won standing there, still wearing her neural interface headset. I'm ready to try. Ji-woo frowned. It's too risky. If the Empire detects our tests. They won't, Ha-won said confidently. The quantum interference masks everything. Besides, we need to know if this will work before they get here. We won't get a second chance. Minho looked at Ji-woo. She's right. We need a real test. Ji-woo thought for a moment, then nodded. Okay, but we do this carefully. Captain Yang. Sun Ma-yang's voice came through the room's speakers. Yes, Commander. Prepare your team. We're doing a live test tonight. That night, as the Empire's ships hung in orbit like artificial stars, humanity prepared its first real strike. In the Neural Control Center, Ha-won sat in her chair, while Minho checked her neural readings one last time. Remember, he said softly, at the first sign of trouble, we pull back. Your safety is more important than the test. Ha-won smiled. I'll be fine. The human brain is amazing, Dr. Kang. We just never knew how to use it properly before. In the command center, Ji-woo watched as Captain Yang's team took their positions. 12 neural pilots, each controlling a small maintenance drone, waited for her signal. The drones were simple machines, nothing that would alarm the Empire. But what they were about to try was anything but simple. All pilots ready, Sun Ma reported. Quantum interference field is active. The Empire's sensors show nothing unusual. Ji-woo took a deep breath. Begin the test. In her neural chair, Ha-1 felt her consciousness expand. Through the neural interface, she could sense every drone, every pilot. Their thoughts merged with hers, forming a single, powerful network. This was humanity's secret weapon, the ability to join minds and machines in ways the Empire had never imagined. Target acquired, Sunmai announced, a small Imperial scout ship just entering low orbit. Remember, we're not trying to disable it. We just need to prove we can affect their systems. Ha-1 focused her thoughts. The neural network hummed with power as all 12 pilots synchronized their efforts. They reached out with their combined consciousness, probing the Imperial ship's crystalline systems. At first, nothing happened. The Empire's technology was alien, operating on principles humanity was only beginning to understand. But then Ha-1 felt something. A tiny flutter in the quantum field, like a door opening just a crack. "I found it," she whispered. "Their systems. They're beautiful, complex but vulnerable." Through the neural link, she guided the other pilots. Together, they sent the smallest possible pulse of quantum energy into the Imperial ship's systems, just enough to cause a tiny hiccup in its sensors. In the command center, Ji-Woo held her breath as she watched the Imperial ship's trajectory. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the ship wobbled slightly, almost imperceptibly, before its systems automatically corrected. "Did anyone see that?" she asked tensely. Sunmid checked her readings. The Empire's monitoring stations didn't notice anything unusual. As far as they can tell, it was just a minor orbital correction. Minho's voice came through filled with excitement. "But we saw it. The neural network affected their systems. It worked." Over the next 4 days, they refined their technique. Each test became more precise, more controlled. They discovered they could do more than just interfere with Imperial technology. They could understand it, predict it, and even control it to a small degree. The human pilots learned to merge their consciousness more effectively, creating a neural network more powerful than any computer. Through their combined abilities, they could process information faster than the Empire's best crystalline systems. On the evening before the Empire's inspection team was due to arrive, Ji-Woo called a meeting of all key personnel. The underground facility's main conference room was packed as she stood to address them. "Tomorrow," she began, "the Empire comes to check on their primitive subjects. They expect to find us ready to accept their rule, grateful for their protection." She paused, looking around the room. "They're in for a surprise." Minho stood up next to her. "Thanks to Ha-1's breakthrough and Captain Yang's training program, we now have 50 neural pilots ready for action. Each one can control multiple ships. Together, they form the most powerful computing network ever created. But more importantly," Ha-1 added, "we can interact with Imperial technology in ways they never thought possible. They abandoned this path centuries ago, thinking their crystalline systems were superior. That mistake will cost them." In his office in New Geneva, Ambassador Do-hyun Park prepared for the next day's meeting. The Empire's inspection team would arrive in 12 hours. They would expect him to formally accept their offer of protection. Instead, he would show them just how wrong they had been about humanity. His secure phone buzzed. "Ambassador," Ji-Woo's voice came through. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" "Everything is prepared," he replied. "How are our pilots?" "Better than we hoped. The neural network is operating at full capacity. The Empire won't know what hit them." Do-hyun walked to his window, looking up at the Imperial ships. "Do you think they'll attack when they realize what we've done?" "Almost certainly," Ji-Woo said. "But thanks to Ha-1 and the others, we'll be ready. Their weapons will be useless against us." "And Neri Kim, how do you think she'll react?" Ji-Woo was quiet for a moment. She chose to abandon her humanity, thinking she was evolving to something better. Tomorrow, she'll learn that what she left behind was more powerful than she ever imagined. As the last light of day faded, humanity prepared for its greatest test. In neural control centers around the world, Pilots did final checks on their systems. In hidden bases, Earth's small but advanced fleet waited for orders. In laboratories and command centers, scientists and military leaders reviewed their plans one last time. The Empire had laughed at humanity's primitive technology, never realizing that true power lay not in crystalline computers or faster-than-light drives, but in the incredible potential of the human mind. Tomorrow, the laughter would stop. Tomorrow, humanity would show the galaxy that they were ready not just to join galactic civilization, but to help lead it into a new era. As Ha-1 completed her final training session, she felt the combined consciousness of all 50 pilots, their minds linked through the neural network. They were ready. The Empire thought they were coming to inspect a primitive species. Instead, they would witness the birth of something entirely new. The perfect fusion of human consciousness and advanced technology. The revolution wouldn't be fought with guns or ships. It would be won with thoughts and dreams, with the power of human minds working together in ways the Empire had never imagined possible. And when it was over, the galaxy would never be the same. The morning of the Imperial inspection dawned bright and clear. High above Earth, 3 massive Imperial ships appeared through quantum space, their crystalline hulls shining like diamonds in the sunlight. The inspection team had arrived. In the underground command center, Commander Ji-Woo Lee watched the ship's arrival on the main screen. Captain Sun Ma-Yang stood beside her, coordinating with the neural pilots through her own neural interface. All pilots are in position, Sun Ma reported. Ha-1's team is ready to begin when you give the word. Ji-Woo nodded. And the quantum interference field? Active and stable. The Empire still can't detect our neural network. In the Geneva Peace Center, Ambassador Do-hyun Park waited in the main conference room. The Empire's inspection team would arrive any minute. He touched the small neural interface hidden behind his ear, feeling the gentle hum of the network connecting him to the others. The doors opened, and High Counselor Neri Kim entered with her team. Her crystalline form seemed to glow even brighter in Earth's natural sunlight. 2 other Imperial officials followed her, their bodies shifting colors like aurora in the night sky. Ambassador Park, Neri said, her voice cool and professional. I trust you have good news for us. Do-hyun smiled politely. Indeed, High Counselor, Earth has made its decision. But first, we would like to show you some of our recent progress. Neri's expression showed a hint of amusement. Progress. In just 1 month. Please, Ambassador, don't waste our time with primitive achievements. I insist, Do-hyun said firmly. After all, how can you properly guide our development if you don't know our current capabilities? Neri sighed, the sound like wind through crystal chimes. Very well. Show us this progress. In the command center, Ji-Woo received Do-hyun's signal. Begin the demonstration, she ordered. Ha-1 Choi sat in her neural control chair, her mind connected to 49 other pilots through the quantum network. Together, they reached out toward the Imperial ships in orbit. Not to attack, but to understand. Through their combined consciousness, they could see the Empire's technology in a way no human instruments could detect. The crystalline ships were marvels of engineering, their quantum systems far more advanced than anything Earth had built. But they had a weakness. They were designed to resist outside control, not outside understanding. In the conference room, Do-hyun activated the holographic display. It showed a perfect, real-time image of the Imperial ships in orbit. But this wasn't from Earth's normal sensors. This was from the neural network's quantum perception. Neri Kim's eyes widened slightly. How are you getting this level of detail? Our ships are shielded against electronic scanning. Yes, Do-hyun interrupted politely. But we're not using electronics, High Counselor. We're using something much more interesting. He nodded to the neural network, and Ha-1's team acted. With their combined consciousness, they'd reached out and ever so gently touched the Imperial ship's systems. Not enough to interfere, just enough to make their presence known. In orbit, the three Imperial ships suddenly shifted position, their perfect formation disrupted for just a moment before their systems compensated. It was like watching a group of dancers stumble slightly before regaining their rhythm. Neri Kim's crystalline form flickered with alarm. "What did you do?" she demanded. "How did you affect our ships?" "We asked them a question," Du Hyun said simply. "And they answered." The other Imperial officials were checking their quantum communicators frantically. "High Counselor," one reported, his voice shaking, "we're detecting impossible readings. Some kind of quantum field we've never seen before." Do Hyun walked to the window, looking up at the sky. "You see, High Counselor, while you were watching us build ships and satellites, we were working on something else entirely. Something you abandoned centuries ago when you chose to become crystalline beings." In the command center, Ji Woo watched the confrontation through Do Hyun's neural feed. "Show them what we can really do," she ordered. Ha-won and her team responded immediately. This time, they didn't just touch the Imperial ship systems, they reached deep inside them. Through the neural network, they could see every quantum circuit, every crystalline pathway. In the conference room, the holographic display suddenly filled with streams of Imperial code and quantum data. Neri Kim stared in shock as human minds decoded and displayed her civilization's most advanced technology in real time. "Impossible," she whispered. "No organic brain could process quantum data this quickly." "One brain couldn't," Du Hyun agreed. "But 50 brains working together, connected through a quantum neural network. That's something else entirely." He touched his neural interface, letting Neri see the network through his eyes. She saw the vast web of human consciousness, minds linked together in perfect harmony. She saw how they could perceive and understand the quantum realm in ways her crystalline technology never could. "You were so proud of ascending beyond human limitations," Du Hyun said softly. "You never realized those limitations were actually doorways to something greater." Neri Kim's form shifted colors rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. "This is an act of war," she declared. "You have attacked Imperial ships." "No," Du Hyun corrected her. "We showed you what we could do to your ships, but chose not to. There's a difference." In orbit, the Imperial ships' weapons systems came online. Energy began building in their quantum cannons, enough power to level cities. In the command center, Ji Woo remained calm. "Ha-won, show them why that's a bad idea." Through the neural network, 50 human minds reached out once again. This time, they didn't just touch the Imperial weapons, they spoke to them in their own quantum language. The massive energy buildup simply dissipated, bleeding away harmlessly into space. Neri Kim received frantic reports from her ships. None of their weapons would fire. None of their quantum systems would respond to attack commands. The most powerful ships in the Imperial fleet had been neutralized by human thoughts. "How?" she demanded. "How is this possible?" Do Hyun smiled sadly. "Because you forgot something important, Neri. Something you left behind when you chose to become crystalline. The human brain isn't just a biological computer. It's a quantum system that evolved over millions of years. We didn't need to build better computers. We just needed to wake up the quantum computers we already had in our heads." He walked closer to her. "Your empire's greatest mistake wasn't underestimating our technology. It was underestimating human potential." Through his neural link, he could feel Ha-won and the other pilots maintaining their control over the Imperial ships. It wasn't even difficult for them anymore. The neural network grew stronger every time they used it. The combined human consciousness learning and adapting in ways no artificial system could match. "What are your demands?" Neri asked, her voice tight with suppressed anger. "Demands? No, High Counselor. We don't make demands. We offer choices." Du Hyun's voice was firm but kind. "Humanity is ready to join galactic civilization, not as a primitive species to be guided, but as equals to be welcomed. We offer friendship and cooperation. We offer to share our understanding of neural quantum integration. We offer a future where organic and crystalline technologies work together instead of competing. He paused, looking directly at her. Or you can choose to reject our offer. But know this, we will not be controlled. We will not be limited, and we will not be stopped. The choice is yours. In the command center, Ji Woo and her team waited tensely for Neri's response. Through the neural network, they could feel the confusion and fear from the Imperial ship's crews. Everything they believed about humanity had been proven wrong in the space of a few minutes. The Empire does not respond well to threats, Neri said finally. This isn't a threat, Do-hyun replied. It's an awakening. You showed us the stars, Neri. You showed us what was possible. Did you really think we wouldn't find our own way to reach them? He gestured to the holographic display, where the neural network's quantum connections shimmered like a web of light. This is just the beginning. Imagine what humanity could achieve in partnership with the Empire. Imagine what we could learn from each other. Neri Kim stood silent for a long moment, her crystalline form shifting through various colors as she processed the situation. Finally, she spoke. I will need to consult with the Imperial Council. Of course, Do-hyun said graciously. Take all the time you need. We'll keep your ships safe until you reach a decision. As Neri and her team prepared to return to their ships, she turned back to Do-hyun. You knew, didn't you? When you stood before the council a month ago, you already knew what you could do. Do-hyun nodded. We needed time to perfect the neural network. Your offer of a month to decide gave us exactly what we needed. For the first time, a hint of respect showed in Neri's crystalline features. Perhaps we have more to learn from humanity than we thought. After the Imperial team departed, Ji Woo's voice came through Do-hyun's neural link. Well done, Ambassador. Do you think they'll accept our offer? They don't have much choice, Do-hyun replied. We've shown them a power they never knew existed. They can either work with us to understand it, or watch as we master it without them. In her neural control chair, Ha-won smiled as she monitored the Imperial ship's retreat. Through the quantum field, she could sense their crew's mixture of fear and wonder. The Empire had come to Earth expecting to find primitives playing with simple machines. Instead, they had found something that would change the galaxy forever. The laughter had stopped, replaced by a silence filled with possibilities. Humanity had taken its first real step into the galactic community, not as servants or subjects, but as pioneers of a new way forward. The revolution had begun, not with violence, but with understanding. And it was only the beginning. 3 days passed after the Imperial inspection. Earth waited patiently for the Empire's response. In the underground facility, Dr. Minho Kang worked with Ha-won to make their neural network even stronger. Every hour brought new discoveries about what human minds could do when properly connected. Look at this, Ha-won said excitedly, pointing to her screen. She sat in her usual control chair, but now the neural interface was smaller, more elegant. We can extend the network's range much further than we thought. The quantum field grows stronger with each person we add. Minho studied the data with amazement. It's like the network is learning, evolving. Each human mind makes it not just bigger, but smarter. Commander Ji Woo Lee entered the lab, her face serious. The Imperial Council is ready to give their answer. They're sending a full delegation this time. Not just Neri Kim, but the entire council. In the Geneva Peace Center, workers prepared the Grand Conference Hall for the most important meeting in human history. Ambassador Do-hyun Park stood at the window, watching the sunrise. His neural interface hummed softly, connecting him to the vast web of human consciousness that now surrounded Earth like an invisible shield. They're here. Sun Ma-yang's voice came through the neural link. High above, 15 Imperial ships emerged from quantum space. Their crystalline hulls created rainbow patterns in the morning light. Through the neural network, Earth's defenders could sense the mix of emotions from the Imperial ships. Fear, curiosity, and something new, respect. The Empire had come not to conquer, but to understand. The Imperial Council filed into the conference hall, their crystalline bodies filling the room with shifting colors. Neri Kim led them, but she seemed different now. The arrogance was gone from her stance. "Ambassador Park," she began, her voice carrying through the quiet hall. "The Imperial Council has spent 3 days discussing your demonstration. What you showed us was unexpected." Do-hyun bowed slightly. "The best discoveries often are, High Counselor." "We have studied the quantum readings from that day," another council member said. His ruby-colored form pulsed with interest. "Your neural network operates on principles we thought impossible. The level of quantum coherence you achieve should not be stable in organic brains." Through his neural link, Do-hyun could sense Ha-won smiling in her control chair. "Perhaps," he suggested, "you were looking at it the wrong way. You tried to impose quantum coherence from outside, through crystalline technology. We learned to wake up the quantum coherence that was already inside us." Neri Kim stepped forward. "The Empire has existed for 10,000 years. In all that time, we believed that ascending to crystalline form was the peak of evolution. We thought organic brains were too limited. But they're not limited." Minho's voice came through the neural network, speaking through Do-hyun. "They're gateways. The human brain isn't just a biological computer. It's a quantum computer that grew through natural evolution. We just had to learn its true language." The council members shifted, their colors swirling with new patterns. Do-hyun could sense their excitement and fear through the quantum field. Everything they believed about organic life was changing. "We have a proposal," Neri said finally. "Not an offer of protection, but a request for partnership. We want to understand how your neural network works. We want to learn what we forgot when we abandoned our organic forms." Do-hyun smiled. "And what does Earth get in return?" "Everything," Neri replied simply. "All our knowledge, all our technology, all our discoveries, shared freely, as equals. And more importantly, a chance to help guide the Empire's future development." In the command center, Ji-woo and her team listened through the neural link. "They're serious," Sun Mai said softly. "Their quantum patterns show no deception." "Of course they're serious," Ha-won added. "We showed them something new, something they never imagined possible. Scientists can't resist a new discovery." Through the neural network, Do-hyun could feel the support of Earth's leaders. They had all seen the data, felt the truth through their own neural interfaces. This was humanity's chance not just to join galactic civilization, but to help lead it in a new direction. "We accept," Do-hyun said clearly. "But with conditions. Earth remains independent. Our development continues at our own pace. And most importantly, everything we discover together must be shared with all species, not just the Empire." Neri's form brightened. "You wish to help other organic species develop their own neural networks." "Every species has potential," Do-hyun replied. "You forgot that once. We won't make the same mistake." The council members communicated among themselves through their crystalline links, their colors shifting rapidly. Finally, Neri spoke again. "Agreed. The Empire recognizes Earth as a full and equal partner in galactic civilization. We will establish a joint research center here to study neural quantum integration. And," she paused, her form flickering with what seemed like embarrassment, "we request that Earth help us remember what we lost when we abandoned our organic nature." Do-hyun felt a wave of emotion through the neural network. Humans across the planet were celebrating, their joined consciousness filling the quantum field with joy and hope. "There's something else," Neri added. "Something we haven't told our own people yet. We've detected other organic species beginning to experiment with neural interfaces. None as advanced as yours, but the potential is there. We request Earth's help in guiding them. You understand organic development in ways we no longer can." In her control chair, Ha-won laughed with delight. "They want us to be teachers. Us, the primitives they laughed at a month ago." "The council has another request," Neri continued. "A personal one. Some of us, Some of us wish to study the possibility of returning to organic form, or at least creating a hybrid state that allows us to experience neural quantum integration directly. The room fell silent. Through the neural network, Du-hyun could feel the shock and wonder from his fellow humans. The Empire's greatest leaders wanted to become more like them, not less. That might be possible. Minho's voice came through thoughtfully. The neural interface works by enhancing natural quantum processes in organic brains. If we could adapt it to work with crystalline systems, then organic and crystalline consciousness could merge. Ha-won finished excitedly, creating something entirely new. Do-hyun looked at Neri Kim, seeing past her crystalline form to the human she had once been. The Empire chose to evolve beyond organic limitations. But perhaps true evolution isn't about leaving things behind. Perhaps it's about bringing everything forward together, finding new ways to combine the old and the new. Neri's form shifted to a deep blue, a color the humans would later learn meant deep emotion in Imperial culture. "We thought we were ascending," she said softly. "But maybe we were just running away from our own nature. Maybe it's time to come home." In the days that followed, Earth was transformed. Imperial ships filled the skies, but now they came as partners and students, not conquerors. The neural network grew stronger as more humans joined it, their combined consciousness reaching further into space. In research centers around the world, humans worked side by side with Imperial scientists, exploring the true potential of organic quantum computing. Young children played with quantum toys while their neural interfaces helped them learn faster than any generation before them. And in a special laboratory in Geneva, Neri Kim became the first Imperial citizen to test a hybrid neural interface. As her crystalline consciousness touched the quantum web of human minds, she felt something she hadn't experienced in centuries. The pure joy of discovery, the wonder of seeing the universe through new eyes. The Empire had laughed at humanity's primitive technology, never realizing that true advancement lay not in abandoning our nature, but in understanding it more deeply. The laughter had stopped, replaced by a symphony of organic and crystalline minds working together to build something greater than either could achieve alone. Humanity had taken its place among the stars not by following the Empire's path, but by finding its own way forward. And in doing so, they had helped the Empire remember something it had forgotten. Sometimes the greatest step forward is really a step back home. As Do-hyun Park watched the sun set on this new era, he felt the neural network humming with possibilities. Somewhere out there, other organic species were beginning to wake up to their own potential. Soon, Earth would help guide them, teaching them what humanity had learned, that the power to touch the stars had been.